Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
All right, welcome in. We have an absolutely loaded show, but right off the top, we're gonna sit. You notice things are different. There's a big logo here. There's a logo on my chest right above my heart. There's beer branded stuff all over the place, and that's because Joe Cools and Toboggan have reached out, and they are the official restaurant takeout and beer of the show. So thanks to them. It's great. I mean, it's delicious. Everyone, hold up your lager. So yeah, I mean, right off the top, the intro, we're definitely gonna talk about our overreactions from week 6 because there's a Titans fan here. We are gonna talk about Tua time because Tua is in the building now. Are the Patriots and the Cowboys, do they suck as bad as we think they do? Thursday Night Football. We're gonna touch on a contest, which is gonna be exciting. You got to stay tuned for that. And then we're going to touch on a little bit of the marquee matchup of the Week 7, which is going to be the Steelers beating the Titans. So, right off the top...
You forgot one thing. We have a special guest on today, Aidan, and we're gonna talk about the Buccaneers and how they stomped out the fucking Packers.
That's true. You know what? I almost forgot about that guy. So, Clemson place kicker is going to be on later in the show, but we also have a new man to the show, KJ Kenneman.
That's right, yep.
And, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us why you're on here. We're happy to have you here.
Well, first of all, I saw your podcast a couple weeks ago and reached out to Chad and just said, great job. I'm a media guy. I have Eric Ajax Communications. That's my company. I own Junior Mustangs TV and Eric Ajax Communications. And we've done Beefeater. We did the Beefeater Championship last year that Chad was a part of. For Saskatoon and all that, and it was a great.
We're trying to forget about that one.
Yeah.
That one stung a little bit.
And I'm a VP, Vice President of the London Junior Mustangs, and I'm also the Director of Football Operations there, and I coach a little bit at Western. My first year last year at Western, so, and I also was at CCH. But
you are football in London.
You
are football in London.
Football. And I'm gonna get this guy here in our Madden tournament, so looking forward to. I'm glad that he's a Madden player, and I'm looking forward to the interview with the the Clemson guy that just a great, another Madden guy. So just an awesome, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah. Big fans of you guys and just want to come support you.
Yeah, hey, we appreciate you being here. Week 6 is in the books now. We're going to overreact to it. Does anybody think that Dan Quinn was telling Matt Ryan not to throw the ball to Julio Jones? Because it sure seemed like it.
Well, Julio was banged up.
I don't know. He seemed fine.
That being said, I don't think Julio's never not been questionable.
Yeah,
his whole career.
Yeah.
So who knows actually how bad it was? But how do you just tell your quarterback, hey, don't throw to the number 1 receiver in football?
Yeah.
I think he was targeted 90% of the time in the game, and I mean, it just seemed like the guy was wide open every time. So I can't imagine that Raheem Morris came in and made that kind of an impact, considering he's a defensive coach. But I mean, you're a coach, like. What difference would there have been in something like that?
Well, Raheem Morris, first of all, is a spread type of coach. He believes in the spread. He's a defensive coach firsthand, but he believes in the spread. And I think what Raheem Morris did was just let Atlanta be who Atlanta is. I think Dan Quinn lost the room. So I think what happens, especially in football, and Chad, you can attest to this when you're coaching, when you lose a team, and I've had it happen to me, we've all had it happen to us, and they stop believing in what you're preaching.
Yeah.
Then I think you're right. And in essence, it was almost like Matt Ryan forgot about Julio Jones because I was with you on. I feel like Atlanta's a really good football team. I just can't believe they're 1-5 now.
They did come out and say last week, I forget who it was, but he did say it felt uncomfortable in the room when Raheem first came in. Like, he made sure everybody was on blast saying, like, you are not safe.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're all playing for a job. I think that's what kind of when Matt Ryan came out and made that comment last week about renting a locker instead of owning it. But I think Raheem Morris made them accountable for, like, hey, if you want to be here, you have to earn that spot.
Well, you know who Raheem Morris's best friend is, right?
Yeah, your boy.
God.
Mikey T.
Well, but I also
they vacation together in the offseason.
He's kind of in the same boat as his players, too. I mean, he has a guaranteed job either, right? So, hey, play hard for me. I'm going to coach hard for you boys, and let's go to war every single Sunday. Right?
But Raheem Morris is one of the top prospects, and this is a great opportunity for him. And you talk about Trevor Lawrence. If it doesn't work out, well, Matt Ryan's right. Maybe he is renting that locker, but I agree with you guys. I think this Raheem Morris is someone that's going to at least right the ship a little bit for Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure. And like another team that's basically in the reverse situation. The Bears are in first place.
Oh my God!
And we're not even overreacting. That's legit, but it needs to be talked about.
Like, exactly. Oh, right.
Defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And that defense, not unlike the Steelers, they have a top 3 defense. And when you have the pass rushers that they have, I think that, and then of course now, Nagy, great young coach, struggle with the quarterback position, Trubisky and all that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden, Foles is in there, and they're 5-1. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Well, I think it reminds me of the team when Rex Grossman was leading them. Now, the defense is built differently.
No quarterback's that bad.
Yeah, I get it. That's okay. The defense is
on.
built differently, and they actually have a decent quarterback as a backup there when Nick came in. But, yeah, their defense is definitely carrying that team. And, I mean, that division has fallen apart little by little, isn't it?
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Bears are very similar to the Titans this year, where, like, you really don't know what you're getting with them, and they're very unproven teams. And they're still searching for the quarterback. They really don't have a run game to speak of, but for some reason they keep getting the wins, right? So you can only beat who you play.
Just like the Titans. Don't have a run game.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think also, I think the defense, so when you go back to that defense, and they don't have a run game. Like, they're down to Montgomery. Like, Montgomery's not very good.
Honestly, I thought that's where Bell was going.
That was that made sense.
Maybe Bell made
It
too much
huge
sense.
there.
Yeah.
But would he have devised that team? Because Nagy's a guy that's just, I don't think him and Bell would ever be able to work together, right?
Yeah, and you're probably right about that. And another team in the on the AFC side, the Bills, they got off to a huge start, and the last 2 weeks they kind of got shit kicked.
They played some 2 tough teams.
2 tough teams, yeah, for sure.
Who was one of those tough teams, Shane?
Yeah,
The Chiefs, I thought it was.
Yeah, I think that the
Oh,
Chiefs.
they played the Chiefs twice? They played them twice.
The
Okay.
Chiefs had a hell of a game plan against them, and they really, really shut them down.
Well, the Bills did what happened last week with Oakland. They dropped everybody in coverage. And what ended up happening was they just ran the football.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Andy Reid. He can adapt to any situation. I think the week before, I think they ran into a buzzsaw. I think everyone kind of thought Titans with the COVID and all that weren't going to play very well. Historically, a team that hasn't practiced doesn't do well. And they just, the game was close, actually. I think it was in the third quarter, right, guys? I believe.
Coming into the halftime.
Coming into halftime, and all of a sudden, it was just, the young quarterback. And I'm not a big fan of the young Bills quarterback. I think he's got great talent. I think he's got a long way to go. Everyone's kind of crowning him. And I think you saw some of his young mistakes that he makes. He doesn't hold the ball with 2 hands in the pocket, Chad. Those little things. And those picks start happening.
Well, the Bills' defense is not built to stop the run.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about that. They can stop the pass. They got some ballers over there against the pass, but they are not going to stop the run at all.
It's not the Bills' defense of a couple years ago that you'd expect them to shut you down a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's surprising because Ed Oliver, I think, is a tremendous player. And I mean, they're missing Milano right now, but they do have Edmonds, whose brother is a safety on the Steelers.
Yeah.
And a running back on the Steelers as well. We're just getting in Kaylin's head this week. We're
This is the shadow game Shane has to play this week. Yeah.
But I think that after what happened to Josh Norman, I'm not sure why they even made him active against the Chiefs because that was kind of unfair. But he did have a fumble recovery, so he redeemed himself a little bit.
Yeah, he's kind of out in the doghouse now a bit.
Yeah. I think his wife let him sleep in the bed again. He's probably feeling pretty good about himself.
Good for him.
Going back to Josh Allen, kind of what you said about the mistakes that he's making. I understand the climate does change a game, and that was the first one I would actually see him play in a game with the mist and the cold and all that kind of stuff. And in Buffalo, that's gonna be a normal thing.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that he came from Wyoming, the weather wasn't the best there, but that ball was all over the place when it was coming out of his hand.
I'm gonna stop you for 1 second and drink from my insurance man beer from Toboggan.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Josh Allen,
I will join you.
he might have needed some insurance after that game.
Yeah.
That ball was sailing all over the place. He wasn't accurate. Overthrowing receivers, underthrowing receivers. I just don't think he ever got a feel to get into that game.
What looked like Josh Allen.
At one point, I think he was 4 for 12.
Yeah, they made him incredibly uncomfortable, and there was a point in the game where the Bills had a chance to swing it on that fumble by Kelsey. And the kicker didn't even hit the net. It didn't look like it was that far of a field. We should talk to
Aidan about that.
But hey, I know that he thinks that kicking is going to be tough, but you got to at least hit the net.
That wasn't even close.
I don't know.
Like, I don't even think he had the leg.
Yeah.
Like, that thing was just right.
It might as well have went behind him, honestly. Like,
I'm just over the
Wide
Titans.
right. Sounds familiar in Buffalo, right? Wide right.
yeah.
To go back to Josh Allen, go back to the Texans playoff game last year. Okay, they had that game won. They should not have lost that football game. It's just as a young guy, and you'll notice it, he takes his left hand off the football whenever he's moving out of the pocket, and he becomes less accurate. Baker, Mayfield, all these young guys, get two hands on the football, work your scramble drills, but be ready to throw at all times. The greats do it. Roethlisberger, Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes is a little different. I mean, he can throw from
It's
anywhere.
Yeah.
I think I've seen with
Chuck
like
it
a
under
lot
his
of
leg and still complete
with a
it.
lot of young quarterbacks, they don't plant that foot.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool when you throw the ball on the run, it looks nice. But if you're trying to get that confidence back and you're making a play, if you have time to set your feet, just set your feet.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because a lot of the top end quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, they're great quarterbacks, but you watch those as a coach and you say, don't throw like them. Like those two players specifically. They're always jumping in the air, throwing off their back. Now they're accurate and they make it work, but it's not going to work for everybody.
Right.
I wonder how many times like Andy Reid has like Brett Favre moment, like no. It's like I know he's gonna throw it, I know he's gonna throw
And then
it.
it's
That's
a
why he
seven-
stays there.
And then it's a 7-yard completion.
That's
Yeah, another guy. We're gonna move on because the Dolphins. I mean, they're not getting enough props for 3-3. Now it might be an ugly 3-3, but 3-3 still counts as 3-3, and they're in second place in the division.
Do you wanna play
They're
we can
one
play?
game out of first, and they decided to make a quarterback change because they love Tua. I think that their bye week being moved up probably had something to do with the timeline and the decision making. I'm not sure if they thought they'd be 3-3. I honestly don't know if they care. But
So many draft picks.
Yeah.
it's Tua time in Miami, and as much as I don't think that he's going to be successful as a quarterback, I'm excited to watch it.
Wow. You really don't think he's going to be a good guy down there, eh?
Yeah, well, I have a problem with left-handed quarterbacks. Don't say Steve Young. And
He's the only one.
yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, like he reminds me of like a Matt Leinart.
Matt
And-
Leinart, okay. The only difference is that he has a better arm. I would say he's better arm than that.
Well, better arm, but I would take a better hip over a better arm.
I feel
Honestly,
you.
like you have
It's
to
a
go
scary
down.
injury.
You have to go down to play Buffalo in December in the cold with metal pins in your hip. I pass.
Yeah, it's a scary injury, no doubt.
I'll take Justin Herbert all day.
Tua is the Tebow. Like, if you think about it, another lefty. The difference is he does have a better arm, but he comes with that magnitude. He comes with that kind of. He's a very spiritual guy, very close to his family. He's going to be good for that franchise, but I agree with you. The jury's out. And then the injury that he suffered, and you're bringing him back now. That's my question. You've got a great guy in Fitz. Whether he's playing good or not, I could care less. 3-3.
Yeah.
It's 3-3.
Yeah.
And I think you bring Tua in, like kind of what Philly's doing, what kind of the Ravens did, a couple of years ago with Lamar, bring him in for a few plays. But to bring him in and start,
That's a good. Like you're
Scary.
you're rolling the
Does-
dice to your fan base.
Does everybody know who they play? Like they're on bye this week, and then they go.
Yeah, his first game is going to be against Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Like, welcome
And
to the
Jalen
fucking NFL.
The only good news is that it only gets easier from there for them. Like, I mean, when you face that kind of player, I mean,
But
like,
get
the
it.
line
it
after
makes-
that's only
it
gonna
would
be easier.
make more sense to put Fitzy out there, let him get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Oh well, like you're 3-4. You got beat up last week. You made mistakes. We're gonna go with our young guy.
Does anybody think this could be a trap game for the Rams?
Well, we're gonna
Get to that later.
Yeah, we're gonna get to
Stop
the
jumping ahead.
Well, I mean, hey,
Just because there's a
But-
board there doesn't mean you can use it.
But yeah, it absolutely could be. Now the Rams have a game this week against the Bears, so I mean that's going to be something that is going to be pretty significant. But we'll get to that. That's Monday Night Football. Do we think that the Dolphins can stay in contention? I mean, 3-3 that puts them in division range ish. And definitely a
definitely
shot at
will.
the 7th spot, right?
I think the only team that's stopping them is the Colts. I think that those two are fighting for that last 7th spot.
So but for me, it's like you have this young kid coming in, and if he does well, you look like a fucking genius.
Yeah,
But if you don't, you just gave up on your team
yeah,
before your season really even got going. You're in the meat of your schedule now.
Sure.
The most important part, you're gonna come off a bye week,
yeah,
and if Tua plays bad, I know you talked about it, saying Fitzy with the guy to go back in and be cool. But you can't do that to your fan base.
Sure.
You drafted him to be the
you
guy.
can't do that to Tua.
Yeah, his confidence will be gone forever.
Yeah.
If you put him in there and he goes 0-4, you got to ride with him.
Yeah, or
Which is fine.
or you're moving on. I mean,
I'll say this: I think Tua's a winner for sure, but it's the injury, the type of injury that he and you talked about it.
Yeah.
You're playing in a division where you got to go to Buffalo.
Got to go to New
You know what
England.
I mean? You got to go to New England. These are cold area. And, you look at even like a guy like, and I don't want to change the subject here, but you see the young kid with the Bengals now. And sorry, guys, my brain.
Burrow.
Yeah.
Sorry. But he's gone into a division where that's quarterback killer division.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, I agree with you guys. The jury's out. I think he's a winner. I don't know if he's a winner at the NFL level. That's
Right.
one thing.
Is he a winner
We'll
yet?
find out.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Like, you could have groomed him in, no problem. But to throw him in there, like, when you're in the heat of a wild card race.
Yep, but you could still say it to all the Buffalo or the Dolphin fans out there. You got 150 draft picks. It doesn't matter. You can go 0-4. You're still going to be happy with having those first rounds. You're still going to have an offseason that's
But is he
going to
rebound if his confidence goes to the shitter?
I think Brian Flores is the type of coach that can bring that guy back.
But let's just pretend that you're Kyle Van Noy, for example.
Okay.
You come from a winning culture
Sure.
in New England. The defense is playing average.
Yeah, Byron Jones back now, too. It's a
And
huge
like
help.
things are starting to go in the right direction, and then nope, we're gonna put in a rookie that no matter what, I mean, whether he wins games, he's gonna struggle. He's gonna make stupid plays,
Sure.
which is gonna throw the defense back on the field and that puts so much more pressure on the defense.
Well, Van Noy, I would say he's an absolute professional, and he understands the process. Like, he understands that sometimes this is what has to be done, right? Coming from a team like New England. Just
But
put me in the
just
place
go
where-
back to one more thing, guys. That no off season, right? You're looking
Yeah.
at a guy like Lamar. He's struggling
Yeah.
because he didn't have that off season as a young quarterback. Tua has had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw 2 balls late in the game. I couldn't believe they threw the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys were watching.
Yeah.
it. He threw 2. He completed them. I'm thinking, why? Just run the ball and get the hell
How
out
many
of
games
there.
did he play in college before he got hurt? So it's been that long since he's
It's
played
been a
anything
full
meaningful.
year since he's been in the game.
Yeah.
Now I didn't even think about it until earlier today, but do you think that they threw Tua in at the end of that game to get a curtain call for Ryan Fitzpatrick?
100%.
And like nobody in the fans knew. Like, I mean, I think he knew. Like based on his reaction on the side, I think he knew.
But he knew he was a placeholder. Like, he knew that going there. He knew what he was. And his only job was to get Tua ready.
I think Tua knew,
Now-
having that phone call with his parents after the game.
Now this is a side note, and we're gonna go on. Well, we'll just move on to the next segment because it's gonna intersect. Now, the Patriots look like absolute trash.
Hey, your boys, the Broncos.
I told you the Broncos could play. If they can get into field goal games, then they're in good shape. But a team like the Cowboys, you saw Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's exactly what you expect him. Do you call the Dolphins and ask for Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because you can still win. If you're the Cowboys and you give him all of those tools, you have to think that you move up. Because I think Andy Dalton's trash, but I think Ryan Fitzpatrick maybe can bring.
The difference with Fitzpatrick is you have all those toys, and there's one thing Fitzpatrick will do. He's gonna just throw that ball, and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, you have Lamb there, you have Gallup there, and Cooper. I don't know why I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you can literally just let him throw the ball anywhere. It would be the worst decision you made. And like, I don't think he cares about if he knows the offense. He's just gonna throw the ball anyways.
That's one thing. He's going to know the offense.
Yeah, I mean, you could squeeze yourself. Like, they could put
I
him
understand he
on
went
the,
to Harvard. He's
you
not
could put him
dumb.
on the bench for 2 weeks and still learn the offense and
Still win the division.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the division's hot. It's hot garbage, and for a team like the Patriots, they're in a completely different scenario where I do think that the Bills are better than them for sure, but better than they played over the last 2 weeks. And let's just say that Tua is the winner that he was at Alabama. I mean, I don't know. I think the Patriots are in trouble. They looked horrible.
Could this be the end of the Patriots? Like, if Tom goes out there in Tampa and wins 11 or 12 games.
Sure. They're still missing a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that
Sure.
that
Yeah,
signed
but
off on
like-
this season, right?
But
Like,
everything
their
is
entire
Belichick this, Belichick this, Belichick that. It's Belichick's team. He does it. No matter who plays for him, he's going to win. It's not looking like that right now. And I was part of that train. I actually picked the Pats to win the AFC.
So where I think that Belichick always wins is on defense. On offense is when he plugs in wherever he possibly can, whoever he possibly can. But on defense, he's had his core and his players for the last dozen years and more. And losing a person like Deontay Hightower is so much more than just a linebacker. He is a coach on the field. That's a huge loss for them, right?
They lost 9 guys.
Yeah, 9 guys, and they're basically
Doctor.
running with 8 DBs every friggin' play. 7 to 8 DBs. That's insane in this type of NFL that we're playing right now.
I don't know. I mean, people were ready to crown him after the first couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, well, people are ready to crown Cam. I think he's kind of shown what he really is. He's a power running quarterback, and that's it. It's always going to be.
Yeah, big people that run with power, like, I don't believe in them in the NFL, so.
I'll
Power
go
running
back to
quarterback.
this, though. That Seattle game, it was telling. I think you go back to that game there. They had to win that football game.
Yeah.
They had a chance to win it.
Yeah.
And the play call, and pundits will say, well, they ran it twice and it worked. Right. It's the NFL.
Everybody knows you pass the ball on the goal line, right?
But on that drive, Cam completed, and that would have maybe changed the narrative, and it didn't. And now he got COVID, and then I'll tell you, I'm with you on Denver. I think Denver is a dark horse that could get a wild card.
Don't give him that.
No, I really believe in Denver.
Don't give him that, man.
If the comments start filling up with that, I'm going to be mad.
You said it's 7 games a mile high, or
Yeah, you're right. It's the only stadium that really has a home field advantage this season.
And their defense is that good. I mean, think if Von Miller was there, they could they could have won that first game. Should have won the first game against the Titans.
Jeez, we were friends until about 30 seconds ago.
No, but I'm just saying.
I take it all back, KJ. Keep it coming.
And then the Titans came back because they're a great football team. But I'm just saying,
we're friends again.
Denver could easily be 4-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're a dark horse. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I was high on the Broncos going in, and they got beat up pretty quick. But yeah, I don't think that the Patriots are going to be as bad as they played this week. I do think that they're missing the playoffs. I mean, I've been on that train sinse Jump Street.
But the Cowboys suck. The Cowboys suck, though.
The Cowboys definitely suck, and they're probably going to win the division. Even though, I kind of want the Eagles to win.
So I was reading something today that it's actually possible for everybody in that division to go 4-12. Yeah. That's insane.
Could you imagine going 6-10 and winning?
It's not possible because the Eagles have the tie.
Oh yes, that's right. Sorry.
So
yes.
check
they would win.
Check your sources. It must have been on a Nashville site.
I mean, 6-10 and winning the division.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that juggernaut of a division, we got Thursday Night Football. Chad and I have our pick'em. I'm still +4 on him. Chad's basically 500 or something. I
don't know at this point. Not good.
Yeah. Where are you going? Where are you going this week?
Do I have to?
You do have to pick because it's part of the
Does
deal.
someone have a coin just so I can flip it? It's that bad? I think, I don't know, I feel you're going to go Eagles, so I can't really, sit here and play ties with you because that's not going to help me. I need to get your ass in the Lake Erie.
Okay.
So Danny Dimes it is.
I'm going to hope he just turns the ball over less than 3 times. And I'm going to go with Daniel Jones because
they might have a chance.
Maybe. I don't their defense played really well against a really shitty Washington team last week.
Yep.
So they're playing a really shitty Eagles team this week. So, hey, maybe we can get one. Get something going here, maybe.
Wentz will give you one.
Yeah, well...
So I'm going to go with the Giants because I'm almost handcuffed I think I have to right now because I need to make some games up.
I think that the Eagles are a little bit better than their record will show. And I also think that they played an okay game against the Steelers. They played an okay game towards the end against the Ravens. For you to take a beating like that and still continue to fight, that's the difference between a team like the Eagles and a team like the Browns. You punch the Browns in the mouth and they go and cry to their mom and take their shoes off and talk to people in the stands.
Yeah, but that's the Philly attitude, right? You don't go to Philly with soft skin.
But that's it, Carson Wentz, maybe he's not having a great season and it's definitely the worst one of his career, but the guy hasn't stopped fighting. And I like Travis Fulgham. I think he's a huge, big body, and he's eating up targets. I don't care that Zach Ertz is hurt. I don't care that Miles Sanders is hurt. If we had to believe in a coach, I'm going to take Doug Peterson over Joe Judge any day of the week.
Doug Peterson?
What did I say?
You said Joe Peterson.
No.
You said Doug.
Oh, you said that? My bad.
He can't see, he can't hear. It's okay.
It's the names thing.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going Eagles. But, you boys, what do you guys think?
Look, I think the Giants have played better football in the last few weeks. I'm a guy who initially said that Daniel Jones, I liked that pick for the Giants. Losing Saquon didn't help. They looked terrible at the beginning of the year. I agree with you with the Eagles. I think, after watching them play the Steelers and the Ravens and come back in games that they had no business coming back in.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about is they're one injury away, and with that O-line being as decimated as they are. So I think you have to take the Eagles, but I understand why you're taking the Giants. But I think I would lean on the Eagles for sure.
That's the way that I would probably go with that pick as well. I think both offensive lines are not good. However, the center does play a big role in that, and I'm taking Kelsey all day in that position. He can help out Wentz with protections and stuff for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
What are you doing for the Thursday game? Where are you watching it?
For me, I enjoy watching the games at home.
So are you gonna get some really delicious Joe Cool's pizza?
I think I'm going to get some delicious Joe Cool's pizza, maybe some nachos, and some boneless wings. I hope that they have some kind of a combo that would
wings
go along
too?
with that.
They got wings too.
That's amazing.
And don't forget to wash that down with the toboggan beer.
Yeah, which they will deliver, by the way.
We found that out today.
Yeah. So definitely call Joe Cool's for delivery and toboggan beer and the insurance man. Now, on to another segment that is sponsored, and we're super cool. Like, we are just blowing up. The Bug Guys of London. We do our offensive pest, our defensive exterminator. So definitely make sure you check out bugguys.ca. But for me, I'll lead off with the defensive exterminator, and I'll be honest, it's usually been a Steeler or a Buck. And given
our linebackers can fucking fly.
Given
on both teams.
the defensive performances that they both turned in, we should probably just pick their entire team. But I'll save that for next week. This week, I'm going to say that it's Jason Verrett of the 49ers, who he altered the game plan for the Rams.
Everywhere.
And I remember that guy being drafted. I don't remember him being that good, and he was all over the place. He made that interception in the end zone. The Rams still stuck, like, they were able to hang around, and they didn't win, but if Jason Verrett wasn't playing in that game, I think that the Rams win.
I think he actually ran the route better than the receiver.
It was crazy. Yeah.
I think he came from San
Diego, first round pick, Pro Bowler, then to spend the next 3 years on IR.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure the 49ers took some heat for signing him, and I think that's a
But
pretty
that's
damn
what
good pick.
John Lynch has done since he's been there.
Yeah, that's a darn good pick for sure.
John Lynch seems to know something about DBs. I don't really know how he gets his inside information, but the guy knows what's up. And for that guy to be able to play the way that he was playing with Richard Sherman on the IR still, and I'm not sure if I could name another guy in their secondary. So.
Jaquarius Tart, I think, is the only person I know.
On a plus side, Eli's going to be happy again. We ripped him apart last week. So.
Yeah, Eli, there it is. Jason Verrett, you got something to look forward to.
That's my dad, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we were ripping him last week.
He's a big Niners fan.
We were ripping him last week.
Yeah, and I think, like you guys said, like the Rams were playing, they were hot.
Yeah.
The jury's out for me on them, like who have they beaten? But the Niners pulled one out. I don't even know, and Verrett was huge on that play.
Yeah, for the Rams, they've only beaten the NFC East, which I didn't actually, I'll be honest, I didn't really know that until this week. But if it wasn't for that shitty pass interference call in the end zone, they would have beat the Bills too.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to write the Rams off. I'm not saying that they're overrated. But
that was a big divisional game, though.
Yeah,
that might have saved this 49ers season right now.
That division is a bunch of heavy hitters.
Yeah.
The way that the Cardinals treated the Cowboys last night, that was
just pure disrespect.
Yeah.
And that was with Murray not even firing off really on all cylinders.
Did you know he's never lost a game at AT&T?
7-0 now.
They should maybe look into that.
Some branding, eh?
Yeah. But just make Kaylin happy. Just pick it.
All right. Well, you know what? I was going to pick my guy. I don't think there's a bad option here. Look how happy you are. I haven't said a name yet. I should just change my pick right now. Just to fuck with him.
Yeah.
I think it was Chase Claypool. No, it was definitely Derrick Henry. I think anybody who watched football this weekend knows that. Anytime a running back rushed for 200 yards, he took over the game. Don't cut me off. I'm on your side, man.
You can't help it.
I think I'm on your side.
I get excited, man.
The one big was when he busted the 90-yarder.
The 94-yarder, yeah, that was amazing.
How are you 260 pounds and you're running away from DBs?
Yeah.
That being said, I'm not tackling you. If you're running at me or I'm chasing you, I'm pulling a Dion. That's a pure business decision. I'm either diving at your ankles or I want no part of this.
Yeah, well, there's teams out there that play team defense and they team tackle, so.
God. Did you know that Henry has 3 200-yard games in his career?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think for me, it's got to be Derrick Henry this week.
It has to be Derrick Henry, but I'll say something. It wouldn't have been Derrick Henry if Romeo Crennel wouldn't have went for 2 and kicked the extra point.
Boom.
And there's another Patriot.
We don't kick extra points on this show, though, KJ.
I got you. So they were actually supporting your brand.
Yeah,
and
they were doing it for the brand.
But I just don't understand that. This analytics, the Ravens last when they lost to KC, they used that stupid analytics. It drives I'm a football guy. I don't need some guy on a computer telling me what to do in a certain situation.
I'm with it. That's how I feel. If you kick the point, you win the game.
Well, you at least force them to go for 2, and maybe
Yeah.
they run that. Maybe they take Tannehill and put Henry in the run. Like they did when they scored the winning touchdown.
If you ask Cam though, you throw the ball on the goal line. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I gotta go Henry, and also he fucked me over in fantasy football this week. He cost me my game, so it's a double whammy on me. So I'll give him that. Now the floor is yours, since you're trying to so nicely cut me off when I was talking your guy up about how great Derrick Henry is.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic game for him. It was a great game for Ryan Tannehill. Vrabel's being talked about this week.
This isn't Titans talk.
Hey, we can have a little conversation.
It was a
about
pest talk, and you might be the
Hey.
next pest here.
No, we can have that conversation.
We need to save some time for Aidan, so we need to cut so we can go and call Aidan, and then we'll be back in a few seconds with Aidan. All right, guys, here's our special guest we were telling you about earlier. We got Aidan Swanson from the Clemson Tigers, and I'm gonna turn it over to Kaylin for a second because Kaylin was the one who actually met him over a Madden session.
Yeah, so I met Aidan actually in a Madden franchise that I'm involved in. He runs a couple of leagues that I play in, and I just happened to see his chat talking about coming back from whooping Georgia Tech's ass, and I was thinking that he was maybe just a student, so I kind of threw him out and said, what was the game like? Are you just a student? He said, no, I'm an athlete, and sent me his page, and I realized, man, we got to get this boy on. Absolutely, hundo.
So yeah,
I'm sorry, what's your...
What's that like? I mean, you dropped 73 points on Georgia Tech. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I thought they would be a lot better, but number 1 team in the country, we come to play. So
I love that swag. I love that
absolutely.
swag.
Yeah. So tell us, Aidan, what was like the recruiting process like when you were coming in through high school and you getting recruited?
yeah, so I went to IMG my senior year of high school, and that really, just going to IMG, it really boosts your platform to meeting college coaches, because like when I was down there, there'd be like 5 college coaches visiting every day. So definitely going to IMG helped me out a lot. Some schools that I was considering going to were UCF, Florida. I visited Mississippi State, Arkansas, just a few of those.
Wow, highly touted. People were after you.
Yeah, I saw a Nebraska logo on your Instagram. Was that they were one of the guys after you as well?
Yeah, I got offers from.
It's cold up
UCF,
there though.
Nebraska.
It gets really cold up there.
Yeah. I think you made the right decision.
I don't know if I was going to consider going out there, but Clemson was my dream school growing up, so pretty much a no-brainer for me.
So unique being that you're a kicker down there, was that any different for you as far as that recruiting process goes? I mean, I'm sorry if kickers are not highly recruited people. I don't know.
No, yeah, it definitely is different for kickers, punters, and snappers for sure. Usually, we're really coaches or schools look to specialists late in the recruiting process. Obviously, because they want to get their quarterbacks, their DBs, linebackers, all that in first, and then we're pretty much the last on their list to look at.
Like Chad's T-shirt says there, punters are people too,
That's right.
and we respect that.
But I do have one big question for you though. What will your specialists think that you're on a show right now that we don't condone kicking extra points? We only go for 2 points every time. Are you gonna be kiboshed when you walk in the locker room tomorrow, or?
I mean, I don't blame you for that. I mean, you see guys in the NFL missing extra points here and there, but I mean, it's really tough. People don't realize how hard it is, especially with weather conditions, with wind and even rain, or it even comes down to a hold for a holder. So you got to give these guys in the NFL props, especially after they move the extra point back 20 yards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even for you, you're kicking for the number 1 team in the nation. I mean, that's pressure without anybody in the stands. And I mean, I'm sure down in South Carolina, they're letting people in, right? You guys have fans?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
So are you guys the real Death Valley though? Is that a true fact?
Yeah, I actually had one of my boys from high school come up here, and he's friends with a lot of LSU fans, so he was putting them on blast about how Clemson's real.
Well, I mean, especially with the year they're having too, right?
Yeah. It's a little surprising to see where they're at right now.
So we do a segment on here. We talk about Trevor Lawrence and where he may end up. Have you ever had any thoughts? I mean, I'm sure the boys in the locker room are probably talking about these things, right?
Yeah, I definitely can see. I mean, there's no doubt Trevor's going to be successful at the next level. He's like all these scouts and announcers, or whatever you call it. He's definitely like a once in a lifetime talent. So I think any team that takes a chance on him in the draft is getting a steal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, we've kind of put him into a bunch of different places all over, and you never know. But when it comes down to it, like, there's some pretty good teams out there that are having rough years, and he might end up in an even better situation than he thinks. But
yeah, I could definitely see like a team like you were saying earlier. I watched one of y'all's podcasts from the other day. You were talking about the Niners possibly trading up. I mean, Jimmy G's not getting it done right now, so that's definitely a spot I'd see like a top quarterback going to.
well, yeah, I mean, he's pretty too. He's got the flow. He's like he would fit in. He's California cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any aspirations where you want to land?
That's a few years out. I'm a redshirt freshman, so definitely a few years out. But I mean, if I end up for the hometown team, I wouldn't complain at all.
I'm going to just cut you off right there. Kickers don't do well in Tampa.
Hey, this guy's gonna change the game.
Well, I'm a punter.
If there's anything for your career, I suggest is do not get drafted by Tampa.
Yeah,
We murder
we've
kickers.
had the kicker curse for a long time, ever since Matt Bryant left.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, that's your hometown team, so they had a pretty big win this week. So it's time to get on there bragging. You got another Bucks fan here with you. Talk a little bit of Bucks.
So I'll go first. I'll take your silence as I'll go first. We have so many Packers fans around here, and they talked so much shit last week to me. Said how they're going to bury us. It was the end of Tom Brady. His life is over. His career's done. And then Tom Brady didn't play great, but that defense did.
He didn't have to. He played the exact way he was supposed to.
We ran the ball. We controlled the clock. We took the ball away. Aaron Rodgers a little Hingle McCringleberry jumped. And guess what? we took it to the house right afterwards.
Yeah.
And then we had 5 sacks to say fuck you to him and discount double check that. So I'm just making fun of all the brands today.
Jeez.
No, yeah, we definitely. I think the defense set us up really well, field position, and then obviously Jamal Dean with that pick six, and then Mike Edwards. I don't know how Edwards caught that interception, but he read it like a book, and so did Jamal Dean. So I actually had the Bucks team on fantasy, so I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Fantasy defense of the week.
Yeah, I think they must have heard you talking about him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, man, I love those linebackers though. Like,
Yeah,
they're great linebackers there.
Flying all over the field.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, Aidan, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I appreciate
And
it.
I would say go Tigers, but I'm a Notre Dame fan and I won't do it. So I hope you guys lose
It's
one
all
game
good.
this
You
year.
can say it after the game. It's all good.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm gonna be pulling for you. Don't worry. And we're gonna have you on again soon.
Yeah. Thanks for coming
All
out,
right.
Aiden. I really appreciate it, man. I'll be catching you on Madden later tonight, man.
No problem. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
All right. We want to thank Aidan for coming on. Appreciate it. We're gonna get back into it, but before we do,
We do have a big contest we want to talk about this week, and it was donated by one of our loyal guys, Nick Newman. He wanted to donate a sweater and a hat for a giveaway. And then on top of that, our good friends at Joe Cools wanted to jump in on that as well and give us some gift certificates. So this weekend, including Thursday night.
Thursday night's fine. Sunday.
Even Monday, why not?
If there's a Tuesday game because the Titans want to play Tuesday, let's do that too. Doesn't matter.
So all we're going to say is we want to see how you guys watch football. Take a picture, post it on our Facebook. Make sure you tag us or mention us. Don't forget, tag a friend who you're watching the game with. And the big one is if you want to, well, we don't want to, do it because their pizza is delicious.
Yep.
We all vouch for it. We already ate some. Joe Cools, you get an extra five ballots into the vote. And we're going to have a winner, and you'll get $20 to Joe Cools. And you will get a sweater and a hat from Mr. Nick Newman.
Absolutely.
And you just got to have a show yourself eating some cools, right?
Show yourself eating some cools.
Drinking some toboggan.
Yeah. And they will deliver that beer to your house. We have proof of it. It happened here about an hour ago.
And if you want to go all in, they do have a feast that they're advertising right now. Large pizza, large nacho, 2 pounds of wings, $60. Make sure you get that going for 2.
Absolutely. 100%.
And
Let them know you saw it here.
Yeah, $60.
$60.
Can't beat that. And oh yeah, by the way, they deliver beer too.
And they deliver it for free in the city. So that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, forget those like stupid beer delivery things that you get on long weekends thinking like, oh yeah, it's long weekend time. Like, no. Toboggan will deliver you beer free all the time as long as you order food.
They went to Arva, they told us.
Yeah. And we were talking and the debate is on if a case of beer, if we could just order 1 lime and that counts as a food item. No, so we're working on Amy, so we're trying. Not everyone wants food. However, you should get it because if you don't get food, you're a bad person. Speaking of bad people, everyone that thought that the Browns were going to be a competitive football team against the Steelers, you ate a big pile of Odell's chest. I don't know.
Do you mean off his chest or?
Hey, whatever. The guy's a freak. He wants to do what he wants to do, but those guys prove that you punch them in the mouth and they
laid a dookie.
Seriously. They're a team that I really strive to watch because their offense is supposed to be good on paper.
Yep.
And maybe it's just me, but Baker always has happy feet. He is always just running around, eh?
Well,
always.
that pass rush in Pittsburgh is pretty good.
And I think Stefanski proved in that 4-win streak where they ran the football, razzle dazzle, all this stuff. You know, the problem, the jury on Baker has been he can't throw from the pocket.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know what that's all about. He's a pretty good college football player. But you see that Heisman Trophy winners sometimes don't translate to the NFL. It might be a height thing, I'm not sure. But what I've noticed from him, and again, our division is a quarterback killer division.
Yep.
And, you know, maybe if he was somewhere else, it might be better. I find what Stefanski's doing is great. I mean, he's a great young coach. Losing Nick Chubb really hurt them. But to think that they would be able to, go into Pittsburgh. And, I mean, how do you not get the ball to Odell Beckham? You know, Njoku wants out now. There's some problems in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I think they need to just run the football. If Baker's your guy, then do it and work your play action. But it's not going to win in this division. No.
Yeah,
I won't win in this division.
Team chemistry obviously matters. If you have a talented team that has chemistry, then you're one of the elite teams in the league. But a team like Cleveland where they trade in for Jarvis, they trade in for Odell, they bring in Kareem Hunt off the street because the gym at the time had a relationship. They did draft Nick Chubb, which I think is a great running back. But you put all those guys together and you give them Baker Mayfield, and I just don't see it. I mean, honestly, I'm not even writing them off as like a team. I think that they might still win 9-10 games. But I don't know. They're never going to be the team that goes over the hump to beat the old style New England, the Pittsburgh, they would probably stand a chance against Tennessee, but that's beyond the point. I'm kidding, man.
I know, I got you.
So my thing is, when it was Jarvis and Baker, it was good. It worked out great. Is Odell the problem? Only because Odell needs the ball all the time. And Baker's also not the guy who can stretch the field.
Yeah.
And that's what Odell does.
Yep.
He's not a possession receiver. He's not going to cut across the middle. Now you're asking a quarterback who's 6 feet tall, I'd say average arm at best, to throw the ball deep against a division where they chase you down and there's not time for those guys to get deep. Yeah. And I think that's also why he rolls out so much, to give him that chance to get the ball out. That being said, by the time he gets out there, those guys are out of his range.
Yeah.
And the ball's hanging up there and it's just not working for him.
Well, in a clean pocket against some of the teams in the NFL, the play action will work. But when you got, the 2 guys from Pittsburgh coming, Watt and Dupree, and then the Hayward, it's a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now the problem is, and they know you're a play action team, so they're ready for it.
Yeah.
They've got film on you. Play them twice a year. It's going to be darn hard.
And what was that thing Ryan Clark showed us? We were watching the NFL Live while we were goofing up just before we went to go meet with Joe Cools, and Ryan Clark showed on the on the tape that Baker shows his hands at 6 seconds.
Yep.
But they
them down.
They know that he's not going to do it, and he brings them down, and then he doesn't bring his hands back up to 1 second. and they're all across the line before the ball's even
This
snapped.
cadence is brutal.
I made a joke. I'm like, TJ Watson to get 5 offside penalties next week.
Yeah.
Because, like, it wasn't even fair.
Yeah.
Like, the other 3 guys were still standing still. The offensive line hadn't moved yet, and he's already in the backfield because he's timed it.
Right.
So it'd be actually good to see how many offside penalties he gets next week.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think that his cadence has changed since college. And when you're talking about his height, I think that's the big problem with Baker. College, he ran out to the pocket, and that's fine because you're more athletic than some of the players you're playing against. But we found out quickly in the NFL, and we're seeing it on a weekly basis, that if he gets outside of the pocket, he's only got half a second still. He doesn't have the time that he used to have, and it's just not there for him, unfortunately.
Well,
And Tomlin, and this is in the Discord, but you said about Beckham first. I want to talk about that because that's important. Beckham would thrive in a team that could throw the football.
Yes.
But he is the problem because he can't handle it.
Yeah.
He's not getting the ball. But Tomlin, I said this from last year. The job he did with no quarterbacks. This guy should have won at least one more Coach of the Year. And I'm a Ravens fan, but I'm going to tell you, what Tomlin's doing right now, he is trying to win a division. And that team is built to beat the Ravens and the Browns, specifically.
Yeah.
Okay? This Dalton kid, well, we'll see what happens. But I think this game coming up this weekend is going to be something else. But the Browns, I was like you. I was like this. I mean, I was hoping that the Browns, you're hoping for the Browns. Everybody's talking about the Browns. And then unfortunately, but the season's not lost. I think you're right. They could win 9 or 10 games.
Yeah. I do think that they're going to win some games. But I think the difference between what the Browns are now, and I'll compare them to what the Steelers were 3 years ago. Now, they had Bell. They had Antonio Brown. If you go back 4 years ago, they had Martavis Bryant. These are all guys that need the ball. Now, I was talking to my wife because she has Juju Smith-Schuster in fantasy, doesn't like what's happening right now. But I said, Ben Roethlisberger is in by far the best situation he's ever been in as a quarterback because he has to just take what they give to him. There's no one on the team that's selfish. There's no one on the team that's whining that they're not getting the ball. Ebron is having a rough start to the year. And the guy is posting every single day. We're working hard. We're at practice. Love my brothers. Juju Smith-Schuster, you haven't heard a word from him. The guy had 6 yards last week. They just want to win. The guys just want to win. And if Roethlisberger can find you, perfect.
But Juju's doing the things that people don't see.
Yeah.
Like he's pulling coverages, and that guy blocks harder
sure.
probably than any receiver in football.
For sure.
And like he's okay doing that because he's doing it for the team. And Chase Claypool is out of this fucking world.
Yeah.
Well, you see the problem. They put 2 on Juju.
And
You
now-
leave a linebacker
yeah.
on Claypool in the slot, and you're done.
Now you're pulling him into the backfield to play running back.
Even if you have multiple DBs to cover those 2 guys, you have Deontay Johnson and James Washington, who are top picks as well. And I think that the way that they're built right now, they're stacked to score points, but they also have the defense that if you want to get into a slug fight, a slug match with them, they can play that too. They'll play you the way that you want to play them and beat you at it. And that's why I think that the Steelers are a great team right now. Do I think that they could dominate the Chiefs? No. Do I think that they could dominate the Ravens? No. But do I think that they're going to get blown out by either one of those teams? I really don't.
No, it's going to be a great game either way.
Yeah.
And you can play with both of them, and one of those 3 teams are winning the AFC. It's that simple. Now it all depends who plays who where. And that's what it comes down to. Sorry, Kaylin, and your...
I think there's a 4th team, but yeah.
I won't give them that.
Yeah, what, you think the Bills are really in the hunt?
I think they were in the hunt a couple weeks ago.
All right, Kaylin, sound off. Go ahead.
No.
We are going to tell, because our man Kaylin is here, and we would normally save our best Week 7 matchups for later in the week, but if anyone didn't know, the Steelers are favored to beat the Titans this week by 2.5 points. That's just the Vegas line, sorry.
You didn't make that one up.
No, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, usually when undefeated teams play each other, the home team is favored, but go ahead. Tell us.
Well, the home team gets 3 points by default. So
Yeah. So if we played in Pittsburgh, it'd be 5.5. Got it.
Okay.
We're all doing the same math. So tell us, talk to us about the Titans. We've all been talking about the elite teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the T word yet.
I understand why.
Texans?
Yes.
Yeah,
The Texans.
I think the Texans they kind of blew a game on the weekend, but
So, I want to come back to, or not come back to, but why do you feel the Steelers are so much better than the Titans based off of who they played? We played very similar teams. We played the Broncos, we played the Texans.
So
and
in
you played
Pittsburgh, we have a different way of looking at it. We take care of our own business.
Yes.
And we play the way that we want to play.
Sure.
And we bring that to the game.
Sure.
And we don't really worry about who the opponent is.
Okay.
Now, you're very wrapped up in the fact that I don't like the way that the Titans play. And I can tell you right now, Mike Tomlin doesn't either.
See, what I think is really funny is you say that the Steelers go into games and they play the way they play, and that's just how it's going to work. We've been doing that since week 7 of last year. We walked into the playoffs every week being written off, and we still dropped over 200 yards rushing every single week.
So you have to ask yourself, why do you care what Steelers fans think then?
I don't care what Steelers fans. This is a nice friendly banter between you and I.
I got to tell you. I gotta tell you, like, he kind of cared, right? Like, he cared a little bit.
Well, I'm going to care
It's cutting a little deep on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to care a little bit because you guys understand, for 17 years, Shane's had this one up on me. It's an old AFC Central Division rivalry. We actually, I remember the first time we clashed was in high school about Joe Nedney and his antics to get that extra point, to get the roughing the kicker. But this has been going on for 17 years. This is one of the first...
I think you need to move on from it.
Hey, listen, this is one of the first times since 2008 that as a Titans fan, I can do a little bit of bragging, I can talk up my team, and I think that we can ball with elite teams like the Steelers and the Chiefs. We've historically, outside of the AFC Championship, which you guys are going to rub in my nose, we've historically beaten the Chiefs. And we beat them in KC. That's what we do. We win games in KC. We didn't win that one game, unfortunately. That was the halftime blew us up there. But we can play with these elite teams. I'm not saying the Steelers, it's going to be a buzzsaw of a game. I think it's going to be a really live game. 3 to 10 points is probably going to be the final. I'm really shocked that you don't think that you can beat the Ravens twice this year, because I think that you absolutely can. I don't know why.
I didn't say that. What I said is I don't think that they're going to blow those teams out.
Okay.
Now, usually, and like this would be historic, with the exception of last year, the Ravens beat the Steelers twice. They split. I mean, they split, right? Like, I think that the last time they didn't split, like, was Joe Flacco ripping, or Troy Polamalu ripping the ball out of Flacco's arm. And
so it's just a division game.
Like, maybe like 2010?
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's because the teams are so closely matched, and they're definitely, I mean, the Ravens built themselves to beat the Patriots.
Yep.
And the Steelers beat themselves to beat the Ravens.
Sure.
So, going in, maybe that's a leg up for the Steelers. The way that the Patriots play now, I mean, the Ravens are going to be searching for an identity. And that's why I said maybe they're flying under the radar. Maybe the way that they're playing, they're just trying different things because they know that they're talented enough that, the talent level they have and the chemistry that they have, they're kind of like Kansas City. They could dick around and still win games. It doesn't matter.
Sure. But coming back to Tennessee, I get our defense is letting up 30 points a game. We come in clutch in the time. We 4th down stops. On the 2-yard line. How many stops have we had in the last 2 years that I can think 5 off my hand right now, off the top of my head, where they stopped them on the goal line 3 yards in? We had 2 stops here in this game that just passed this week. We're a tough-nosed team too. We may give up 30 points. We're dropping 40. I don't know what's going to happen against the Steelers, but I still have to come back to we're both 5-0 teams. We've both played some not tremendous teams. Okay.
Sure.
I don't know if we really are going to see who's a contender and who's a pretender coming out of this game. Really, right?
Yeah, no, well, I think it's going to be a good test. It's a good road test for the Steelers for sure. I'm not sure if you're trying to convince me that the Titans are good or you're trying to convince yourself, but
Do you remember the last time you boys came to Nashville?
Did Antonio Brown light you on fire or what?
Oh, we beat you guys. That's when we got the first seed. It was long. That's how long this has been, Shane.
No. The last time they played in Nashville was on Thursday Night Football, and Antonio Brown ate your lunch.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like 43.
He's
to
done
like
some
7,
bad things in
It was
his
like
life.
43 to 17 or
I don't
something
know.
like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, well, I'm going to jump in here because you guys are going to fucking go all night long if you don't stop me off. I'm going to have a sip of my beer, which is from Toboggan.
Delicious.
From my good friends at Joe Cool's in
Delicious,
Toboggan.
by the way.
And I think it's about time we talk about this contest one last time.
Yeah.
Make sure you get us in on. We want to see how you watch football this week. Take a picture of it. Tag a friend. Eat some Joe Cool's. Drink some Toboggan beer. We want to see it. We want to hear about it. You'll win a hoodie, a hat, and $20 in Joe Cool's money.
Yeah.
And other than that, I want to say thank you, KJ, coming on the show.
Sorry, we're looking for donations too. We're looking for a donation for Ass Loop for Kaylin because he's going to need it for Sunday. But anyway, go back to what you're
In the
talking.
comments, if you guys want to let us know who you think might win the game on Sunday, you want to give us a score prediction.
Recommend brands for Kaylin.
Yeah.
Make sure you tune us in on Facebook and on Spotify are the 2 best places to find us.
You got anything you want to?
Hey, I just thank you for having me, guys. Really enjoyed this tonight, and I do think the Titans are in the top 4 of the AFC. I think it's gonna be a great game. I will be ordering my Joe Cool's pizza, Toboggan, For that game, not the Thursday night game.
No one's gonna watch a Thursday night game.
Hopefully there's like a World Series game or something.
Yeah. But thanks, guys, for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Also, our producer kept telling me to yell at me, YouTube. I guess we're on there too, so check us
Subscribe
out
on
there.
YouTube.
Anyways, KJ, Kaylin, Shane, cheers guys.
Yeah, boys.
Cheers to Toboggan.
Good time.
Cheers, guys.